Okay, so here is the last section in chapter 6. So we have here is going to be lower cost of market. Okay, so what is lower cost of market? Now, every time we make an assumption that we make purchases of inventory, we also have to understand that there is a potential that inventory can be adjusted and the value of the inventory loses its value over time or increases its value over time. All right, so this is the only exception that when we make the purchases of the inventory, this is the only item or one of the items that you can modify the original price for. So as we know that the principle of historical cost, right? Exactly how much you purchased it, you cannot recognize a gain or a loss right away. In this case, this is the assumption that because due to technology and due to the vast majority of the market, we know that every single year, right, there's something newer and greater, or technology becomes very more far advanced, and things just become, your models become outdated, and then newer models are being produced every so and so years. So as you know, something like that, so whatever item that you purchase, so example, if you this is definitely more geared towards technology. Okay, so technology is a very good example of how things can get outdated. So the example that I use that could potentially lose its value over time is going to be, let's say you are an electronics store and you sell laptops. Now let's say back in 2018, I bought the most latest and greatest 2018 models. Okay, so at that time they were the greatest and they were the best ones out there. Now fast forward to 2020, well now 2021. Do you think can you expect that you're gonna be able to sell the 2018 model in 2021 for the same price? Absolutely not. Of course not, because you have the assumption that in 2021 you have newer technology, you got better cameras, you got a better processing system, you have, instead of a disk spinning, you have now a solid state drive. There's a lot more improvements to the computer and it moves a lot quicker. All right, now with that idea, then you're going to have to actually look at the market, see how much the 2018 would sell for, and you would adjust it accordingly. So that is usually what happens for a lot of inventory parts. So just because if for our example, we buy coffee mugs, what if 2 years later they produce a more highly efficient ceramic, right? What if the glazing is a lot more manageable, and let's say what if it's shatterproof? There's a lot of things that can happen with technology, and will go through almost any product that exists in the world. So including products such as a simple broom, right? A broom. The next model is going to be a different handle, right? Different bristles. Okay, so there's a lot of things that can go into the idea of when you make purchases of type of energy of inventory. You just need to know that that oftentimes they're not going to hold its value, especially if it's like it's been a couple years since you had that inventory. So this is how we're going to be looking at inventory when we purchased it, and how we determine whether we need to adjust it or not according to the market. Okay, so here we are, lower cost of market. Now on the left side is going to explain each column, and it's going to explain a formula. Okay, So the first thing that we got to recognize is what is going to be the ceiling price, floor price, market price, and then lastly, which one's lower cost or market. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look on the right side before we introduce that side. So the right side, we have items that we originally purchased them at a certain price. But due to the market, right, it tells us that it should cost only this much money, okay? And then, of course, the estimated selling price is what we determine, right? Because this is how much we want to sell it for based on a percentage of profit that we want to earn, okay? And then, of course, we also have the actual profit amount, right? From figuring out the selling price, and this is our goal is to get to this amount. Okay. So now that I'm looking at that, now we can go ahead and introduce each section. So each section is going to say, so the first thing you gotta do is you've got to determine the ceiling price. The ceiling price is going to be your selling price minus the cost of disposal. Okay. We also call that it's also known as net realized value. Now, I'm not going to test you on net realized value because I just want you to understand that it's just another terminology for it. So if you do go out into the future to a company and you are in charge of the inventory, they may use this, okay? But just to understand what the ceiling is, it's just the selling price minus the cost of disposal. So, okay, and then once you solve for the ceiling price, next is going to be the floor price. The floor price is going to determine your net realized value minus the amount of profit, or also known as taking the ceiling price minus the amount of profit. Okay? Once you've determined the ceiling and the floor price, now the next portion is crucial. It's determining which is the market price. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the ceiling, the floor, and the replacement cost, and you're going to place them in numerical order, okay, from highest to lowest, okay? How are you going to determine the market price is you're going to determine which number falls in the middle, okay? So if you have 5, 6, and 7, or we'll put it in from highest to lowest, right? So you have 7, 6, and 5. Your middle price between the 5 and the 7 is going to be 6. Okay, so that's going to be determine your market price. And then once you determine your market price, then the last answer is, or the last question to ask is, which one's lower, the original cost or the market price? So then you're going to compare your market price that you solved from comparing the three numbers. If it is lower, then you're going to place that in the lower cost or market. If the original cost is lower, then so on and so forth, then you're going to place the lower cost. You're going to do the original cost in that column, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at it at the first example here. If I purchase an item for $5.04, and the replacement cost for it is now $4.89, the estimated selling price is going to be $8.17, and then the cost of disposal is going to cost me 87 cents to get rid of the item, okay? The profit percentage is 40%. You don't really actually need to know that part. All you really need to know is that out of that profit, you want to earn at least $3.28, okay? So let's go ahead and solve for the ceiling. Ceiling is going to be the selling price minus the cost of disposal. So what's my selling price going to be for this one?
817.
817, okay, and we're going to subtract out the cost of disposal. Okay, and how much should we get?
730.
730. Good. Now, let's look at the floor price. Okay, if the floor price is known as net realized value minus the amount of profit, we know that net realized value is also known as the ceiling price. So we're going to take our ceiling price of 730 and we're going to subtract what number?
The replacement cost?
Not the replacement cost.
328.
Be the 328 for
The
the amount of
three,
profit.
exactly, the amount of profit. So what is that number? So if we're going to take 730,
402.
402. Okay? So now that we determined our ceiling price and we determined our floor price, okay? Now we need to take our replacement cost and we're going to compare these three numbers. We're going to place them in numeric order from highest to lowest. So the highest number here is the ceiling price, right? We have 730. Then what number comes after that?
504.
No, that's the original cost. We're only focusing on the replacement cost, the floor, and the ceiling. Okay, so we're looking at the replacement cost. It's $4.89. Okay, and then we're looking at the floor for $4.02. Which one is higher?
489.
489.
489. So now that we placed it in order, right? We got 730, 489, and 402. Which one is in the middle?
489.
489, and that becomes your market price. Okay, so this is understanding that, okay, so here's a little the mess right here that it's explained on my PowerPoint, right? If the ceiling price and the replacement cost is greater than the replacement cost, okay, then that's good. But if the replacement is greater than the floor, then your only option is that it's going to be the replacement cost. But however, if replacement cost is actually less than the floor price, then the floor price becomes the replacement cost. But in this case, the replacement cost ended up being in between the ceiling price and the floor price. Okay, so there you go, 489. Now let's compare. The last section is to compare which one is lower. Is it the original cost or is it the market cost? So now we're looking at the original cost of $5.04. Compare that to the 489. Which one's lower?
Original cost.
No, the
No, I'm sorry,
the market
market
price
price.
is lower.
Yes, 584 is lower. Okay, so that's pretty much, yes, how you do lower cost of market. So let's go ahead and do the second example. If I originally purchased something for $4.01 and now the market is telling me that it's now worth $3.92, but I'm selling it at $8 even, but it's going to take me 40 cents to dispose each item. Okay, that's how much it's going to cost me to dispose each item.
How's that calculated, practically speaking?
Say that again?
I said, how would that be calculated, like practically, like in an example, like if we had just a bunch of like junk to throw away, we would just toss it.
Yes.
Like,
Okay. So, for example, let's say,
broken up on our trash bill, or like, how would that be?
well, I
Unless
mean,
it's like something that has like I don't know, like something that needs to be disposed of, like, I don't know, some kind of biohazardous waste or something that has a specific cost to dispose of it. Most stuff is just,
Exactly. Exactly. So, the best way to kind of understand this is if you have large bulk of quantity, you need machinery to get it out of your to bring it, carry it out of your storage, right? You might need to rent a big, huge, one of those big, huge trash cans to dump those things in there. Those are going to be cost to dispose the item.
okay.
Okay. Or for example, when you have technology, right? You can't just throw technology in a trash can. You actually have to go to an actual place to be able to break it down, or you can even sell it for its parts or whatever it is.
That would be an
Okay.
offset of the cost.
Yes. And that would be considered a cost of disposal, right? Because you have to get the equipment, you have to transport the equipment somewhere, right? If it costs you money to ship it to your location, it's also going to cost you money to take it out of your location. Okay, so that's going to be considered cost of disposal, right?
Okay, yeah, I was thinking more of just like a small business that would just, like, throw it in whatever their
Yeah,
local trash.
exactly. Then that for that kind of instance, then your cost of disposal would be zero.
Okay.
Okay, but this is like looking at a company that sells hundreds of
scale,
items. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Even for technology too, if it if you really want to come down to a very small boil, right? You're not going to go take your electronics. Let's say you are an electronics store. You're not going to take your equipment and just dump it in your local, business trash can. You could, but you could potentially be fined for that. So you might need to rent out one of those big, huge trash bins that carry it out for you. Or you might need to, if you really want to boil it down to every single penny, you might actually determine how much it's going to cost you to drive it to an electronic hardware store to get rid of it. That's an example of a cost of disposal, right? Um, and or just to sell the item itself, and you're trying to get rid of it, you're subject to have to like either sell it at an even lower price. So that's also going to be included in the cost of disposal right there, because you're trying to get rid of it. You don't care to break even. You just care to get rid of it. That's also going to be considered cost of disposal as well.
That wouldn't be more of a sales discount?
Now you want to be careful with that because, right, in our
Trying to sell it.
perspective,
Yeah.
it's another way of looking at it this way too. You're not selling it at its original price. You want to try to get a profit out of it, but sometimes worst case scenario, you don't care for it. It's like, again, yeah. For example, you have a 2000, I don't know, 2000, a 2010 laptop. I don't care for how much it cost me. It probably cost me $20 right now just to get rid of it. But I originally purchased that for like $200 or whatever it is. But I'm just trying to get rid of it. If someone wants to buy a 2010 item, I'll let you pay for it for less than what I originally purchased it. That's also going to be one of those theories for cost of disposal, is that you can care less. You're not making a profit out of it. You're just trying to get rid of it. But that one's more, again, not the best example of a cost of disposal. The more cost of disposal would be how much is it going to cost you to get rid of the items. So including purchase, the extra expenses that you need, getting a recycle bin, properly throwing it or getting it trashed properly, renting people to carry the items out of your store. That's going to be more along the lines of a cost of disposal. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
So how do you get? Can you repeat how do you get the market price, the 489?
It's going to be comparing the ceiling, the floor, and the replacement cost.
Ceiling, replacement.
Mm-hmm. You're going to compare those three numbers. Okay. You're going to take all three numbers and you're going to place them in numeric order from highest to lowest, or lowest to highest, whichever way you want to look at it. There's only 3 numbers that you're dealing with. And you're going to select the one that's in the middle.
Ceiling and what?
Ceiling, floor, and replacement cost.
And then how about the lower costs?
Lower cost is comparing to the 2 numbers. Well, which one's lower, the original cost or the market cost? Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the second example here. We have the original cost that we originally purchased it was $4.01. The replacement cost is now $3.92. We want to sell it for $8, okay? It's going to cost us 40 cents per item to dispose, okay? And then, of course, we want to make sure that we have a 45% profit, which in this case, I want to earn at least $3.62. Okay, at least. So with with these numbers here, let's go ahead and determine the ceiling price. So what numbers am I going to be using?
$8.
Mm-hmm. Minus what?
Minus the cost of disposal.
Which is
40 cents.
40 cents.
40.
So how much is that going to be for my ceiling price?
760.
Okay, oh sorry, I didn't go to the next one. Get 760. Good. Now, how do I determine the floor?
760 minus the amount of profit.
Correct, which is going to give you what?
398.
3.
Sorry.
362.
Oh, 362 is the amount of profit, but what is the total?
398. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Good, 398. Okay. Now, how are we going to determine the market price?
Have to increase with this.
Okay, so if we solve for the ceiling price, what's the ceiling price, Nilo?
Ceiling price, $8.
No, that's the selling price, the ceiling price. The ceiling price that we solved for was what?
You mean to say the 760?
760, good. Now, what was the floor?
398.
398. What's the replacement cost?
Mm, 392.
392. Okay, so take all those 3 numbers and tell me which one is in the middle.
398.
398. So that is how you determine the market price. Is at 398, because if you take those 3 numbers, you organize them in order, you're going to determine which one's in the middle, and that's the market price. Okay? All right. Now then, which one's lower? Is it the original cost lower, or is the market cost lower? How much was the original price?
401.
Market prices.
401. The market price is lower. Correct. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do the very, very last one here. If I originally purchased something for $3.49, and now the market is telling me that it is now $3.05, I originally sell it at $8.25. To dispose it is going to be 95 cents. And my profit amount is going to be $3.50. Okay, so how do I determine the ceiling, floor, market, and lower cost?
The estimated selling price minus the cost of disposal.
Okay.
So 8.25 minus 95 cents is 7.30.
Okay, good. 730. So what's my floor?
7.30 minus amount of profit is 3.50. It's 3.80.
Okay. And then what's going to be my market price?
$3.80.
380. Okay. So which one's lower? The
305 replacement. Oh no, I don't see 349.
349. 349 is lower. So we solved here that 730 is going to be our ceiling. We solved that the floor was going to be $3.80, and we determined that the market's going to be $3.80. Now, which one's lower, 380 or 349? In this case, our original cost is $3.49. So I'm going to go ahead and place it right here. So therefore, with this conclusion, if the original cost is the same, you're not going to make any adjustments to it. Okay, you're going to keep it the way it is. So that's how you're going to make your adjustments to the inventory. Okay, so for this class though, I only want you to be able to calculate the actual numbers. I don't really want you to understand how to journalize it because again, that is definitely something that is going to be more advanced level and you're not the inventory manager. But I do want you to see this as a potential reason why we make these adjustments because you can't assume that every purchase of inventory that you make that they continue their value at they continue holding their value over time. That's not true. They do lose its value over time or they increase its value over time, and that's where we have to determine, do we need to make adjustment or do we not need to make an adjustment? Okay? And for this purpose of this class, I only want you to know how to calculate it because this is potential for primarily inventory managers that they have to deal with how to do this, okay? Or how to properly, like you actually know where this number is coming from versus the inventory manager just throws you a table like this and says, journalize this. You're not going to know what this means. So that's why I'm showing you this. So if you'd like to know more about how to journalize it, again, just read the end of chapter 6 where you learn about the indirect method and the direct method. Again, that's a little more advanced, and you need to be more for, whatchamacallit. That's actually more advanced to the point where that is taught actually in cost accounting, okay? So, but in this case, I just want you to understand where this number comes from, and that's all I want you to know. Okay, so again, course review is going to be, we looked at what a lower cost of market does. Okay, it just happens when you make purchases of inventory and they lose its value or gain value over time. So again, when we do this, there's only 4 components that we're looking at. 2 of them are calculations and 2 of them are just comparing. So the first one that we're looking at is calculating the ceiling price, which I've made it easier for you by saying it's selling minus the cost of disposal, okay? Then your floor is going to be your ceiling price minus your amount of profit, all right? And then when we're dealing with the market, we're comparing 3 numbers. We're comparing the ceiling, the floor, and the replacement cost. We're going to organize it in numeric order, whether it's highest to lowest or lowest to highest. And we're going to determine the middle price is going to be the market price. And then from there, you're going to compare. Well, what was the original cost? And you're comparing it to the market cost. And you're answering the question, which one's lower, cost or market? Okay? Okay. Any questions for chapter 6.4? It's a very small chapter.
So this included in the test.
Say that again?
It's included in the test.
Yes,
Quiz.
absolutely. This quiz? No.
No, this one is not on the quiz this coming today.
No, I don't think so. Because there's a lot of more important things in chapter 6 than the lower cost of market. But however, you will be tested on this on the exam, which is in 2 weeks from now. Okay. And then yes, and I'll give you guys a little options when it comes to the exam, just because it is going to be in 2 weeks. I do still want you to take it on Monday. However, I can also assign it to be earlier if you need it to be. Okay. So here we are at the 6.4 exercises. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So here I actually gave you like examples of items and stuff. Again, I didn't put the profit percentage because, you know, really that number doesn't matter. What matters is your profit amount. Okay, you can determine the percentage by taking the selling price, subtracting the profit amount to get you the percentage right there. Okay, but in this case, I don't care for the profit percentage. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So, example number 1: you purchase bags of chips. Okay. It cost you 89 cents, but let's say these chips became outdated, or it's one of those limited edition chips. Okay, you know, a lot of those chip brands, they bring out like a temporary flavor that you bring out, and then if you need to get rid of it, you know what happens, okay? So again, here, I bought these chips for 89 cents each. Now the market is telling me that now that this flavor is not popular, it's only going to be sold at 49 cents. Okay. And then the selling price that I want to sell it for is $3.99. And then the cost of disposal to get rid of it is 15 cents per bag of chip. And the amount of profit I want to gain out of it is $3.05. Okay. So, how am I going to determine my ceiling price? What is my ceiling price?
Selling price minus cost of disposal.
Okay, so
$3.99 minus 15 cents equals $3.84.
$3.84. Okay. What is my floor price going to be?
Selling price minus profit amount, 79 cents.
79 cents. Okay. So comparing my ceiling, my floor, and my replacement cost. Which one's going to be in the middle?
79 cents.
79 cents, yes, because, yes, it's 79 cents. Now, we're going to determine, well, which one's actually lower? The original cost, which is at 89 cents, or my market price, which is 79 cents? Market. So here, I'm going to go ahead and determine that no way, the replacement cost is too low. So I'm going to go to the market to get more knowledge and more, understanding of how this should be. And we determined that it lost 10 cents in value instead of losing a whole a whole 40 cents value. Okay. All right, so let's look at the next example. When we look at cups, if I originally bought it for $2.59, and now it's telling me that it's lower by $2.49. I originally sell these cups at $8.99, and it's going to cost me 75 cents each to dispose them. All right. My amount of profit that I want to gain out of it is $5.84. So, how am I going to determine the ceiling?
Selling price minus the cost of disposal again.
Which is what?
8.24.
$8.24. Okay. What's my floor?
240. Total.
$2.40. Okay. Wait, 240?
Yes.
Yes.
249 is market cost.
249 is the market cost because we determined that because this time the replacement is actually higher than the floor. So 249 is there. Okay. So now let's compare. Is 249 lower than 259?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So the market is again going to be lower. Now for this example here, we got shirts. I originally bought them at $1.99. And now it's telling me it's gonna cost me $1.66. I sell each shirt at $4.99, and it's gonna cost me 22 cents each to dispose it, and I want to get at least a $2.99 profit. So what is going to be my selling price?
$4.77.
$4.77. Okay. What is my floor?
178.
170 what?
8.
178. Okay. So then which one's going to be my market price?
$178.
Yes, in this case, my floor is actually more than my replacement cost. So here, 179 is actually going to be my number here. Good. Now, which one is lower, my original cost or my market?
Market.
Market, yes. Again, 179 is definitely lower than 198. Okay. Now here we have pants. We originally bought them for $5.25. It's telling us that it should be now $4.98. I originally sell them at $14.99. Okay, and it's gonna cost me $1.85 to dispose them, and then it's going to I want to make at least an $8.15 profit off of them. So
I have a question.
yes.
Why you put 179 market cost and cost of market? It's 178, right?
Oh, I'm so sorry. You were right. It is 178. I think I was looking at the one above. That 9 just transferred all the way down. Thank you. Okay. So ceiling price is going to be
13.14.
13.14. Okay. What is my floor price?
$4.99.
$4.99. So which one's going to be in the middle?
498.
Is $4.98 truly in the middle?
No.
That'd be the $4.99.
It'd be the $4.99. So sometimes like things like that. That's why we have the ceiling, the floor, and the market for a reason, or the replacement cost for a reason, because sometimes you'll get numbers where they're off by only like 1 penny, and you have to really think which one's actually lower. Okay. So in this case, my market is $4.99 instead of $4.98. $4.98 is lower than $4.99. So in this case, what is my actual, what's lower? My original cost or my market price?
Your market price.
Correct. It is the market price. All right, so a few more examples here. We got 4 more, and then we can move right along. Okay, so now I bought some hats for $2.58, and they cost now $2.05. I sell them for $9.99, and it's going to cost me 59 cents to dispose, but I want to make a $7.49 profit out of it. So, what is going to be my
$9.40.
$9.40? Good, thank you. Ceiling price, good. And my floor?
$191.
Hold on. 940 minus a 7. Okay, so what do you say?
191.
91. Okay. And then which one is going to be in the middle?
That's 749.
749 is not going to be in the middle.
Sorry, hang on. Originals.
Not original. We're looking at replacement cost.
Yeah, it'd be the replacement.
205.
In the middle.
205 would be in the middle. Yes, the replacement is actually greater than the floor. So 205 is going to be there. Now let's compare and contrast. Is 205 going to be greater or less than the 258?
Less.
So here the market rules again. Okay. Then we bought some toys for $1.05. It's telling us now it's going to cost us 98 cents. Okay. I sell my toys at $6.99. It's going to cost me 11 cents to dispose, and I want to make a $5.81 profit. So what is going to be my ceiling price?
688.
Okay. And then what is going to be my floor?
107.
I did not get 107. How did you get 107?
Oh.
Oh, okay. It turned out to be 107. Sorry about that. 107. Okay, and then what else? So what's the market? What is the market going to be?
$105.
105. Remember, that's the original cost.
Oh, 107, sorry.
Yes, 107 is going to be your market. Now you can go ahead and compare it. Is 107 going to be lower than 105?
No.
No. So this time, our original price prevails. Okay, so there you go. Now I have a perfect example that I don't need to adjust my inventory. Okay, for my toys. Okay. Now let's do last two. Okay, we got pens that I originally bought at 78 cents each. It's telling me now it's down to 33. Then I sell it for $2.99. It's gonna cost me 7 cents to dispose, and then $2.24 is my profit. So what is going to be my ceiling, floor, in market?
292.
292.
And 68 cents for your floor price.
Okay, so which one's in the middle?
68 cents.
The 68 cents. And then lastly, which one's lower? Is it my 78 cents or 68? Yes, 68. Yeah, there you go, 68. And then last but not least, this is my laptops. I originally bought it for $584.60. Now it's telling me that it's now $562.17. My selling price is $849.99. It's going to cost me $129 to dispose. And then it's also going to, I also want to make at least $127.50 profit. So, what is going to be my ceiling price?
720.99.
720.99. Okay. What is my floor price going to be?
$593.49.
$593.49. Okay. So then which number is going to be in the middle?
$562.17.
562.17. Is that lower than 593.49?
Yes.
It is lower. So therefore the floor is actually going to be the market price here. Because this number is actually going to be in the middle. Okay? So then now we have that which one's lower? The original cost of $584.60 or my market price of $593.49.
Original cost.
The original cost here is indeed going to be lower. Okay? So there you go. That's just this is like applied example here. Okay, so you guys know what's going on and understand this. Any questions into regards to the lower cost or market?